everyone. I'm Karen and I'm here with you for our reflection for Wednesday, the 26th of July. Well, it's now the middle of the school holidays and it's the Forfar Trades fortnight. McLaren's the Bakers is shut, and for most people, that means it's summer holiday time. Time to relax, have some fun, spend some time in the garden, and maybe do a spot of travelling. Whether it's a short trip, a few days away here in the UK, or maybe further afield, abroad, somewhere hot and sunny with a beach, or maybe on a cruise around the Mediterranean, or a city break in a European capital, or maybe even somewhere more exotic in Asia, Africa, or the Middle East. Unless, of course, you are retired, when every day can be a holiday and you can go away at any time of year. Then I suppose the summer holidays don't mean so much. I love going away somewhere new and experiencing a new culture, seeing the sights, learning about the history of a place, and trying the local cuisine, and discovering more about the world that we live in. Most of all, I enjoy practicing and having a go at the local language, reading the street signs, listening to local radio, or watching the local TV and conversing with the local people. Most of you will know I have a degree in translation and spent the first 15 years of my career as a modern languages teacher in various secondary schools. It will come then as no surprise to you that languages fascinate me, how they're constructed, their grammar patterns, and how some words don't exist in other languages. I love the interconnectivity of different languages from different language families and how their roots can be traced. I'm interested in the skill involved in translating and interpreting and studying the etymology and how language can evolve as our society moves on. Where does the language come from? And how can we communicate with others when we don't speak their language? Today, there is increasingly more and more research into dialect and heritage languages, particularly Scots here in Scotland, as well as sociolinguistics and psycholinguistics, topic which really fascinates me. So for me, travelling is about communication with other people and speaking to new people. But you don't have to travel far to meet new people and hear other languages being spoken. There are many people who come to Scotland speaking other languages. Our Hungarian friends in Budapest speak Hungarian, but most of them can already speak Russian and English as well. Our Swiss friends in Dubendorf and Schwerzenbach churches speak Swiss German, German, English, and sometimes French. Here in Scotland, we have 4 official languages as recognised by the Scottish Government: English, Scots, Scottish Gaelic, and BSL. However, in Scottish homes today, there are over 150 heritage and minority languages spoken. Scotland is a diverse country and is known for welcoming foreigners or strangers into our homes. The word foreign is defined as of, from, or characteristic of a country or language other than one's own. But it can also be defined as strange and unfamiliar. I've always been interested by how in French, the word they use for foreigner is l'étranger, literally a stranger, as in the famous novel by French writer Alfred Camus. The Bible tells us we should treat strangers with dignity and hospitality. It recognises that every one of us can be a stranger at some point in our lives. And for that very reason, we need to overcome our fear of those who live among us whom we don't know. We should treat the strangers we meet with love and care, and treat them as our neighbour, as Jesus instructed us to do, and love our neighbours as we would ourselves. This point is highlighted in the parable of the Good Samaritan, which I'm sure you all know. When someone asks him what you should do to inherit eternal life, Jesus replies, Love your Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbour as yourself. When they ask him, "Who is my neighbour?" Jesus tells him the story of the Good Samaritan, the man who was left beaten and half naked by the side of the road, who was ignored by the priest. He was ignored by the Levite, one of his own people. But it took a Samaritan man, a stranger or foreigner, to stop and help the man. It was the Samaritan who was the good neighbour to the injured man. He bandaged his wounds, he put him on a donkey, and he took him to the inn, where he gave him food and shelter. So why do we pass by when strangers need our help? We shouldn't just help those who are in our friends and family circle. When Jesus talks about loving our neighbour, he means strangers, people who come from other countries, people who maybe speak a different language, people who are unfamiliar to us. They're all God's children, no matter what language they speak. So this week, let's think about what we can do to help a stranger. How can we show our neighbours love? How can we provide food and warmth and shelter to them? Perhaps you could volunteer at the Cozy Corner, providing food and company to someone who's lonely. Or you could offer to host one of our Hungarian visitors for a few nights when they come in September, providing shelter to a stranger. Or maybe you could show love to a stranger simply by donating to the food bank or buying the big issue and helping the homeless. There are strangers among us who need our help everywhere, and they are our neighbours because God's love is universal, no matter where we come from. Have a good week, everyone.